It finishes Manchester City 3, Chelsea 1. Taking a look at what that means. Manchester, despite all their woes, City are up to 4th in the table. Chelsea, of course, who someone said were title contenders, are now 13 points off at Liverpool at the top. Frank Leboeuf joins us here from Frank in a moment.
I don't think being 4th in the table is something to shout about for City, is it?
But I think considering all the rubbish and
now that Chelsea have sort of fallen off,
it shows how everyone else is kind of falling over themselves.
Well, Chelsea have fallen off a cliff, and
that's the key.
City fell off a cliff in Paris in midweek. It could have happened today.
Hey, this was a fun game, though, wasn't it? I enjoyed today's game.
Yeah, I think City were the better side, but Chelsea were dangerous early. I felt sorry for Kusanov, the young boy.
Was that Pep's mistake, throwing him in the deep end?
Yes.
Like that, yeah? You think so?
And the way he performed and the reason it took him so long tells you that he wasn't ready. So it was a huge gamble that didn't pay off in terms of Kusanov.
Right.
But they won the game. And so
Pep
it
explained
kind of
afterwards
gets
that
away
Johnson
with
wasn't ready. He wanted to save him for the Champions League as well midweek.
Still,
you throw the young boy in.
Yeah, I mean,
so you want to get off to a good start at any club, even when you're an experienced player. Here we have a young lad who's been playing in France and playing well. He's clearly a good player. City generally don't sign bad players. There's the odd exception. So he's clearly a very good player. But he throws him in, he makes one mistake, he makes two, he makes three, and then as Stevie said, he looked very nervous. Although he looks very comfortable on the ball, I have to say. But the nerves were getting the better of him. And then he takes him off relatively early in the second half. OK, Guardiola's got to win a game. I understand that. But in terms of looking after a youngster coming into your football club, I don't know, that's not a very good way to go about it. To first throw him in and then to drag him off. I mean, you imagine that young laddie going home tonight, his mind will just be racing. But I suppose that's where we are, Big Boys League, in terms of that's what happens sometimes. I just felt a bit sorry for him. He's not going in against a Southampton. He's going in against one of the better teams in the Premier League, albeit they've had their struggles recently. And he just got a little bit exposed. I mean, he probably arrived, Tuesday or Wednesday? Something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, that was a big ask.
I just want to get Frank on this, Stevie. Pep is wise enough and old enough to know what he was doing. Why did he do it?
Well, because he thought he didn't have the choice and another choice. So he gambled, as you mentioned. I know he's certainly going to play for the next game in the Champions League. So he needed him very quickly to be tried and see how he could cope with the situation. It's an unfortunate start, and I also felt sorry for him. And I was upset against Pep Guardiola because the guy is only 20 years old and it's maybe too much an important game for everybody to put him at the beginning of the game. But there are stories like that. I remember Patrice Evra having his first game in the derby, Manchester United against Manchester City. I think he made a mistake and he had a fantastic career after that and won everything. And Lilian Thuram as well with Monaco. First game, first mistake. He had a hell of a career, so we have to wish to Kusanov, is that correct? Or Kusanov, to have the same kind of career. He made a mistake. Hopefully he's not going to lose his confidence. I'm pretty sure the Pep's going to work on that. And hopefully for the guy, everything's going to be forgotten
I don't
very
think
soon.
Patrice Evra was ever going to lose his self-confidence. He's got more self-confidence than anybody on the planet.
So that's the one negative for City. Plenty of other positives, though.
Yeah, Stevie mentioned it. Haaland taking that goal particularly well. His hold-up play, he's linking up. So with De Bruyne come off the bench, but there are positives. Foden looking a bit sharper. Nunes having to play, I suppose, right back again next to the youngsters. So they are. Kyle Walker's gone to Milan. So they are short in numbers in there. They've signed a couple of other youngsters in the back position, obviously, to come in. They're sort of further down the pecking order, but it's been a better, apart from midweek in Paris, it's been a little bit of a better time for them. But you still feel, Chelsea in the first 15 minutes created a couple of really good chances. But the decision making, and they talked about it in the commentary, Chelsea at both ends are going to have to improve. Nicol Jackson sort of regressed to what we thought he is after a very good start by his standards. And Robert Sanchez at the other end, for me, he's just too much of a liability.
Let's talk about Sanchez.
This was a completely different Man City performance than we are used to. You know, we used to Man City taking 3 days to get up the field, 1,000 passes, get it wide, come back again, come back across, go round, and Haaland never gets a touch. And people have been criticising Haaland recently because he's not doing anything. Well, he's not doing anything because of the way that City have been playing. All of a sudden, they sign Mamouche. If I'm Haaland, I'm thinking, hold on a second, nobody ever played me balls in behind. He must have had 4 or 5 in the first half. And all of a sudden...
Did you like Mamouche? Did you like what you saw?
Oh, what's not to like? I mean, he was sharp, he looked hungry, he had desire, he had a smile on his face, he looked confident. I mean, all of those things. And of course, when they play at balls early, it completely changes the way they play. And that's why Haaland got involved all the time. And then all the questions were answered. His hold-up play. Well, he held it up on more than a few occasions. His hold-up play was the reason for 2 of the goals. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just a different performance from City. This was not a typical performance, and that's because Mamouche played, and the type of player Mamouche is, they actually played to his strengths, which is running in behind, which, guess what? They've had a guy who runs in behind for the last 2 years and never used it.
Chelsea couldn't figure it out. Mamouche plays a little bit on the left, but then he
that line, though,
he creeps inside to be more of a threat, making those runs, and Vardiol was bombing down the left-hand side, and Chelsea never figured it out. So sometimes it looked like City were playing with Mamouche alongside or near Haaland, and other times he was out in the left. And Reece James and Madueke, who was playing that side, really never figured it out, and they started hitting those balls over the top. We saw Núñez getting in, we saw Vardiol getting in, we saw the ball from Ederson that got Haaland the goal when Sanchez came out. So they were getting it forward quicker. But we talked about players coming in sometimes from Germany, not always, but some recently having struggles. To me, having watched him at Eintracht Frankfurt and having seen him today, he's at a good age, mid-20s, he's fast, he's quick, he's direct, we know he scores goals.
Something different, isn't he, for City?
Aye.
He's something different. We've kind of, I don't know, people have looked at Jack Grealish and go, is he ever going to get back to that season he had when City won the Champions League? People are looking at Doku and go, well, it's kind of the same trick every time. But Mamouche is just something different. He can run with the ball, he can run without it, he makes direct. I think he's going to be a really, really good signing for them.
Are you all right, Frank?
I'm not all right. I'm upset. I'm upset with Chelsea. I think I was listening to the guys and I agree. They play differently. They play differently because Maresca tactic was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, we all know that Manchester City are not capable of dealing with counter-attack, and that guy decides to play high on the field and to allow players like Marouche to go behind them. And the 2 goals they conceded, the second and the third one, is because of that. Even the first one is because of that. So I blame the players because they should have scored, and Palmer should have scored in the second chance that he had. And after, when Nicolas Jackson gave the ball to Sancho, he should have dribbled. The goalkeeper was diving everywhere, Ederson, to score that goal. First, at 2-0, I can tell you, Manchester City will have been in a darkness like never. So it's not for me. Manchester City won the game. It's because Chelsea didn't play well. I mean, unbelievable, the mistake that I saw. You have to kill the game first, but after the first goal, they play too high. They don't wait for them. Sorry, I took some notes.
That's all right,
but Madueke covers because he doesn't know where he has to go, and I don't know what Cucurella is doing. The guy who has the ball sees the game, so therefore you have to drop. That's an immediate reflex as a defender, and I'm sure Stevie can back me up, and even Craig, that when the opponent sees the game, you have to drop. Otherwise, you're going to be rusted. The second goal, it's unbelievable. They are 1-1 against Manchester City away from home. I mean, everything was bad. The mentality was bad. They got sloppy after the first goal. They didn't finish the game after the chance that they had, and after they played too high on the field. So that's the first time that I'm very upset with Maresca, because we all know that Manchester City cannot cope with the situation when you wait for them now and you counter-attack. And Chelsea has so much weapons to cope with that and to kill Manchester City. Instead of that, he play high on the field and be caught in his own tactic. That's insane for me. Insane. When I saw that, I would say, my God, they were completely wrong. Everybody.
You know he's angry when he's taking all those notes and he's gone on a rant like that.
Oh yeah, he didn't even have time to get dressed properly.
But I tell you, I mean this from a guy that was lauded at the start of the season or the first half or thereabouts. If this continues at this club with this ownership, he might have to start looking over his shoulder as they continue to drop down the league. Do you think Chelsea will suffer 6th, 7th, 8th in the league? You know, that good start will be forgotten. These owners, they could just pull the trigger at any time. And if you think back, recent history will tell you, when he was at Leicester last year and he won the league and he won promotion, the first half of the season was amazing. They were a country mile ahead. The second half, it started to fall apart. And at one point, it didn't look. At one point, it looked like they were going from a 12 or 14 point lead, whatever it was, to going into the playoffs. Not even automatic. And are we seeing a repeat of that at Chelsea, where he goes in, all his stuff's great in the first half, and then for some reason, whether the players stop listening or he does something different, the second half of the season falls away. It happened at Leicester last year. It's happening at the moment, and he's at a club where he cannot afford this to continue and finish 7th or 8th in the league. He can't, because they'll sack him.
That would point out that he's the one that lets go. He's the one that
takes his foot off the gas.
He takes his foot off the gas and doesn't hold them accountable the way he probably did at the start. And actually, the goal Frank talking about with Haaland's left one-on-one with Colwill, your coaching staff sitting on the halfway line pretty much should be screaming at either Colwill or Cucurella or anybody to get back and make it 2v1. That's what your job as a coach is not to sit and watch the game. Right. You're coaching, you should be coaching during the game, and your job is to look around and see where things are going wrong, what needs to be changed, what should be. Now, number one, the goalkeeper and Colwill should be the ones screaming at somebody to come and help them. And if they don't, the coaching staff, they've got enough coaches, by the way. They've got 10 coaches, so they should be doing their job. Right. and actually, what you're talking about, Chelsea have turned into a team that doesn't ask questions of MD anymore. They sort of sit and wait, and if somebody coughs the ball up, then all of a sudden they go,
no control,
oh, wait a minute.
Chelsea side whatsoever.
No, other than the first 15 minutes, they were watching this game.
Yeah, and inevitably, obviously, Sanchez come under the spotlight again, Frank, after those high-profile mistakes that he's made. Maresca, as you would expect, come out and defend his goalkeeper, say, look, Nico Jackson misses chances. Caicedo gives the ball away. The problem with the goalkeeper, when they make mistakes, obviously, they are highlighted more than any other position.
That's true. That's unfair, and that's true. It's like the last defender. If he makes mistakes, he's going to be punished because only the goalkeeper can save him. But it's even worse for the goalkeeper, and I understand. Yeah, you have to defend your players because you have no other choices. But I don't know why. Something happens, something like that happens. Why Sanchez has to go out where it's not a danger? It's clearly Haaland is not a danger when he decides to get out. But it's true that Nicolas Jackson, it's been like 7 games that he didn't score. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy who supposedly had a better season, yes, he had a better season, but before December, since then, we don't see him anymore. The problem is when Nkunku comes on, he's like a ghost. You don't see him at all. And if you don't have the sparkle of Palmer that we didn't see after 10 minutes anymore, it's over. Madueke is a great player, but we barely saw him. Sancho, where was Sancho today? That's unbelievable. So it's everybody. Fernandes didn't see him. So it was an average game. And it's why when I hear, Manchester City were better. No, they were better because Chelsea allowed them to be better. Because Chelsea were very bad today.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like the last 20 minutes, 15 minutes, we've seen a lot of Manchester City, and there has always been that kind of soft belly there.
Waiting for the collapse.
But there was nothing that would suggest this was going to collapse, and as Frank said, that was as much to do with Chelsea than City.
Yeah, and I think the show a couple of days ago, they were talking about the possible, I don't know, pie in the sky, about Garnacho.
From Manchester United.
I'm thinking, how many wingers do they want? I know Modric has got an issue with the doping ban at the moment, but that's not the glaring area. Yes, Sancho wasn't great today. Madueke wasn't great. They've got Pedro Neto. How many wingers are you want? Somebody up front who's quality. which Jackson isn't, which clearly Nkunku isn't. He's been disappointing. He'll say my chances have been few and far between. So, again, I find some of these rumours about the kind of players they're signing pretty strange. But ultimately, they have to arrest this sort of decline. Otherwise, he'll be the next to go. It's simply everything that they did fantastically well in the first 4 months of the season will go swimming out to sea if this continues. I mean, that's how brutal it is in the Premier League.
Right.